Well, for those that haven't seen the first interview with Don, go and look at some of the stories on there of how he lost his eye. It's why you sit sideways for it, isn't it?
It is what's sideways, because this just freaks people out. They're like, what is going on? I know something's not right. Where is he looking?
On that swivel chair, you just need a cat, and just like stroking a cat, just be like an evil genius. Hey guys, Uncle Oz here, joined by Don Idrees today. Don, you are the man behind the World Ultimate Strongman. You're in Dubai right now. In the UK, we are on full lockdown again. Last time that happened, we had the Feats of Strength to keep us going. I need you to tell me some good news. What's happening in 2021 with the World Ultimate Strongman?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me back. And as much as I hate to say it, in my first podcast with you, told you there was going to be a second wave, and I told you I just didn't think it was going to be this bad.
I don't think any of us did. I mean, I think for you guys, it's been a lot better, hasn't it? I don't know how you're coping.
I'll explain that to you. So what happened was, when this whole thing came about, and if you recall, there was a series of unfortunate events. It was like things started getting canceled, like events, shows, travel, boom, 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 one after the other. I think that was March. So we kind of knew, or we were told, or some of our researchers said, look, this thing is going to take a while. And everything we started planning from then on was based on worst case scenario, and the world might not go back to what we think is normal for probably until 2022. And everybody we spoke to, they're like, what a bunch of clowns. What do you mean? So this time, 3 months, it's going to be fine. And 3 months came, and then everything was still shit. They kind of reopened, and then riots started, and I don't know what. And it just kept going on and on and on. And we kind of knew that winter was going to be bad, especially for the Northern Hemisphere. But we just didn't think that, I'm sorry, but when you've got Humpty Dumpty running the country, I mean, I'm so sorry. I mean, I don't usually like to get into this, but what the hell?
I don't normally like to bring politics onto the show and stuff, but I think people are just getting so frustrated with the stop-start nature of everything and the last minute, choices, I guess. I think we're all grown-ups. We all understand this is a serious issue. And my personal choice, I'd rather see something harsh done and things improve rather than this stop-start nature, because the amount of people now struggling, I mean, people in the fitness industry, obviously this is kind of what we focus on. The messages I've had, that this lockdown in the UK that's just happened now seems to have affected people's kind of mental psyche worse than any before. And I think it's because of the constant stop-start changing nature, people are start thinking, when is this going to go away? And we have the hope of the vaccine hopefully doing something by, I guess, the summer really would be realistic.
Yeah, that's more realistic. But I'm glad you brought up the harsh take thing. So bringing it back to what you asked before about how we're coping with it here. From the middle of March till, I think, I'd say the beginning of May, the lockdown here was very, very, very severe. And I'm talking like time stood still. Like we had to get a permit. We had to apply for a police permit once every 3 days to leave the house in order to buy groceries and stuff. Now, what they did here was use that time to, because look, at the end of the day, the real danger of COVID and its fast spread is it taxes the healthcare system, right? 100 people show up needing an ICU and you've got 20 beds.
Sure.
80 are suffering. That's just it doesn't take a mathematician to figure that out. Yeah. So they converted expo centers into hospitals. They set up extra hospitals. They converted hotels, of which we have a surplus of, as you know. So suddenly now, if 2 million people get sick, they can be taken care of. And they did this so quickly and so systematically that July 7th, I'll never forget that date, July 7th, they started a marketing campaign saying Dubai is open, okay, for travel.
Yeah.
Then they had a list of, like a checklist. If you are a small business, or if you're a restaurant, or if you're a cafe, here's the list of requirements. You have to put up these signs. You have to put up that signs. You have to count the maximum capacity, temperature check at the door. If you're able to comply with that, open your business.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you're going to get a heavy fine. There was some teething, obviously, in the first month or so, but we haven't shut down since.
No.
And the cases are under control. The numbers are under control. The deaths are very, 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 very little. Yes. And at the same time, they also went and acquired various vaccines from various different sources. So right now, it's free for the residents. It's completely optional. It's not obligatory. It's not mandatory. And you actually get a choice. Do you want the Chinese one? Do you want the Pfizer one? This one? You fill out a thing, and I mean, of course, it's Dubai, isn't it? You'll get a menu and options for everything.
It's not just
what kind of vaccine would you like today? Right?
Dubai always got that extra.
Absolutely, and it's still a bit of a ball ache because it's not an instant solution, because it's just like any viral vaccine. So you take shot number 1, then 3 weeks later is shot number 2, and then you have to wait 28 days, then you get a vaccine card. So in that 7-week period, you still have to wear your mask, and if you travel, you still have to get the PCR test. But then after that, it's like, I've got a card, I was good. And there's no priority thing here, but it's not as much people as the UK, so you can deal with that. Same with small countries in Europe like Belgium, Denmark. They can take care of their people if you only have a population of 5, 6, 7 million. Yeah. It's when you get to that 50 plus that you're like, So I just hope. I mean, everything keeps. The main danger, like you said, is people giving up on life. In general,
that's been quite concerning recently. I've had more messages this last week from people they're struggling. They really are, and that's a sad place to be and a sad thing to see. So,
if you're up for it, one of our team members actually suggested an idea today, an hour ago, and I said I'd speak to you about it. We'd like to do. We'll talk about it later, but it's basically related to this, but it's words from the athletes to the fans, to the general public, to aspiring sportsmen. I think it would be a nice thing to do a little series of, I don't want to go down the motivational messaging route, but you know what I mean?
No, definitely. I think we all need some kind of hope right now. And, you're the kind of guy that when I ring up, you're uplifting. And I want you to bring the strength fans some good news. So, obviously, we had Feats of Strength last year, and it was good. It was fun. Got some kind of negative feedback, but I think that's going to happen no matter what you do. I think on the whole, fans really enjoyed it. So, are you doing something similar this year, or are we going to get back to some live events?
We are, whether we do something similar or not, we might do it as an add-on, but that's not going, because if you're right, it was met with a lot of negativity, but then that kind of got old, and like, hey, just in a home gym, it doesn't count. Like, are you familiar, you've got kids, I'm sure. Are you familiar with Beaker from The Muppet Show?
I'm not, no.
You ever watched The Muppet Show?
Yeah, I've watched The Muppet Show. I don't know which one's Beaker.
So there's this red character with a mouth like this. That's what he sounds like, right?
Yeah, I do know, yeah.
So when I read those comments, that's all I hear. I just hear Beaker speaking. So after a while, you're like, really, guys, it was May 2nd that the world deadlift record was broken. Just get over it and let's move on. Everybody had a good time. You got something to watch for free. It gave the world a buzz. Strongman was the only live sport on planet Earth for a period of 1 month. So relax yourselves. And we always said this is a temporary fix.
It was never the goal, was it? That the goal's always been to put on big events.
Absolutely. The goal, it was not, hey, this is how Strongman will be from now on. We weren't trying to change the way Strongman is formatted, or the competition format, whatever. So it was always going to be a temporary fix. It just so happened that it provided a solution for a problem that none of us could foresee. And I'm sorry, but there's hunters and gatherers and there's waiters and hopers. We're not the latter. We just make we do what needs to be done and we just roll with the punches as they come along. We could have been like other promoters who were like, let's just wait for the world to get better. Well, what if the world doesn't get better?
Yeah.
So we did that, but then I suppose we're lucky. We're in an area or in a region that has controlled the situation to a degree that we're able to go back to doing events with limited capacity, where and whether it's outdoors or indoors. Obviously every place has its own regulations. So the original plan in 2020 was our first show was going to be in Bahrain, and now that has been announced officially. And Strength Island, that I mentioned before, that we're working on, so that is now a reality. February 27th in Bahrain. 15 of the, well, pretty much everybody who's not injured is competing. Alexei, the Stoltmans, just pretty much you name it, and of our qualified athletes, not just everybody. There's 15 of the strongest guys, hoping no more injuries, and it's going to be great. It's going to be live. We're going to do it live. It's going to be for free. It's going to be on TV again on ESPN. I think maybe even BT. I'm not really sure. But don't quote me on that yet. But the deal with ESPN is they're just going to televise all of the strongman that we produce live, because we think it's about time.
So they
should be live.
They're doing the show live on ESPN or live. Wow.
So what's going to happen is we're going to the day of the event. So it's mostly going to be head to head. The day of the event, it's going to have a live transmission on Core Sports, on Rogue's YouTube, and on ESPN. Then 2-3 weeks later, we're going to cut a highlight reel, which will be then re-aired on said platforms.
Okay, so you're going to have like a full, for the hardcore fans that want to watch everything, they get to see it absolutely live.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're going to mix in, some pre-produced stuff like interviews with the athletes and this and that, because we need something to fill in the breaks. And look, it's live and it's optional. And on Core Sports is going to be on demand. So if you've missed it, you can watch it later. But we need to make it available, because aside from the fact that, well, we are 2021 and technology should, allow a fan to see the sport that they love immediately. Aside from that, it's just you get more. There's no reason why you shouldn't be doing it live.
I've been saying this for years, that we need live or as near to live as possible. At least, I don't mind a day to a week delay if people are going to edit to a nicely cut, show.
Yeah. It's just prehistoric now. I mean, it's like, look, I know, I'm sure it's because of certain pre-existing ancient deals or contracts that need to be respected. I can totally understand that. And yes, there was a time when the importance of how a show looks and the commentator and the presenter, that was more important than watching the show. But the reality is we need to move with the times. People do not have patience anymore.
No. People
get angry if they find out the show was 4 hours before they were watching it, let alone, So and it's not like, okay, I'll wait. And if I enjoyed it, I'll watch the cut again, or I'll watch it with a couple of friends of mine. But people should have the option of watching it right there and then, whether it's paid or it's free, that's not the point, but it should be available.
Okay.
That's what we believe in, and that's what we're trying to do. And you're doing the commentary, by the way. Sorry to surprise you.
I best be, otherwise, there'll be trouble. We'll fall out.
No, absolutely. So we'll fly you and Auntie Liz over for a couple of days, a few days in the sun. It's going to be a good time. I think it's going to be a good time.
So Bahrain is the 27th of February.
Correct. Yes.
And do we know the events for this contest yet?
We do. We haven't announced it on socials yet. I think we're starting. I think this is going to start putting out posts today. So I'll run you through them in my layman's language. So event number one.
This is more Mark's area, isn't it?
This is Mark's area, but Mark's just he's just up to his neck. We opened the first Strongman gym in the region, Strong HQ.
Yeah, it's looking good.
And it's a Strongman's wet dream. It's got everything you want, from moving events to farmers to logs. It's basically all what you need, plus other stuff, and not a lot of mirrors. So we're all about strength and functionality and less about vanity. But it's a nice little place. It's honestly, we're very proud of it, because it's a place you enter and you're like, I could be here for 3-4 hours with my mates and mess around with stones, and
cool.
It's just like an old RAW but clean at the same time. So we're I think the official opening is Saturday. Awesome. We've been soft open for a while. Events for this contest. So event number 1, can you still hear me? Just want to lean back a little bit. Event number 1, we're calling it the Axle Deathlift.
The Axle Deathlift.
Deathlift.
Okay, yeah. Go on. Elaborate.
So what it is, it's a head-to-head. It's an axle deadlift, yeah, but it starts with, I'm not exactly sure about the weights, but I think it starts with 320 kilos. Athlete does 1 rep, and then you load another 40. He does another rep, load another 40, does another rep, and you keep going until I think it goes up to 440 for how high, and obviously for time. Head to head. Nice. So it's a horrible. It's from a 15-inch height, so I'm assuming it's a little bit of a different lift. But it feels, because I think the grand total is like 1,900 kilos. It ends up being that you have to. We tried to make it 2 tons. The 2-ton axle deathlift sounds a lot more fun, but I don't think Mark was. He brings me down to reality sometimes. So that's event number 1.
Okay,
that should be quite interesting to see who can get to, because I don't think the Axel Max deadlift is not like. What is the Axel Max deadlift?
Oh, Don, don't bring another deadlift record into this.
No,
we can't cope with another one.
You're ruining the fun laws. Why not start an online debate now? Does it count because it's in the Middle East?
I'm not sure on an Axel 15-inch deadlift world record, but the strongest back's going to win, and that's what we want to see.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So that's event number 1. Event number 2, it's a mystery event. We wanted to throw in an event that you cannot train for. Absolute surprise. You find out on the day and you just have to deal with it. Of course, it's not going to be like a 600 kilo yoke or something that is going to injure the athletes, because safety first. But it's going to be something awkward, and just nobody has had the chance to train for it, hence keeping an even everybody's in the same boat, really, and we're just not going to tell anybody. Okay, they're going to find out when they land, when they test the kit. By the way, this is event number 2, so we'll keep the cameras ready for reactions.
I think a lot of people have been talking about contests where we don't know the events, and going back to sort of maybe the old school type, the guys didn't know some of the events when they got there. So that'll be interesting. It'll be really interesting to see how the athletes cope with that situation, which ones can adapt and figure things out quickly, and which ones sort of let it affect them mentally and crumble. I think that'll be a real mental battle for a lot of the guys.
Absolutely. And it's also because I think some of the athletes really, really, really rely on knowing the events way in advance, training for them a specific way. This is just throw something in the mix that nobody's ready for. And you're like, all right, well, this is Strongman. This is Strongman, isn't it?
Oh, if you're talking to someone that's done plenty of comps where I didn't know the events and events changed last minute. So I quite like it, but it's also not everyone will.
We'll have the cameras ready to tape some reactions. And
that's a great thing.
Yeah, and it's kind of like I think it was Jeff Capes who was on your show, and he was saying it's been standardized too much and all that. So we'll just thought we'd throw it in the mix and see what happens.
Cool.
Then event number 3, I think, I'm not sure of the order, so please forgive me if I mess it up. It's a 100-kilo dumbbell, the giant dumbbell for reps.
Okay.
In what Mark calls the Strongman minute, 75 seconds. Then we've got a load and carry event, which is quite interesting because it's 3 things. First, you're going to carry and run with a 100-kilo tire. Then back, and you're going to pick up that awkward, horrendous WUS shield.
Oh, yeah, that's horrible.
The 120 kilos. Then you're going to run back, and the last thing is a 140-kilo Atlas stone that you're going to have to run and load.
The guy's going to be allowed tacky or not for that?
I don't know.
Okay, well, I'll talk to Mark about that.
I don't know yet. So that'll be interesting to see. I haven't seen anybody run with an Atlas stone for a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. I've seen it occasionally, but 140 kilos is pretty heavy to be moving with a stone. So that'll be an interesting one. And again, one of those things. If you make a mistake and you drop it or something like that, it'll be one of those events that is hard to predict winners. Guys that it's such an easy thing to make a mistake on. So it makes things interesting.
And it's not like 2 or 3 meters. Like you got to go a while. So I don't know if somebody will choose to carry it here or here, and it's because like after the shield is already going to take the breath out of you. So I don't know. I honestly, myself, I think I tried stones for the first time this morning, and I'm so shit at it. So for me to imagine a human being actually carrying 140 kilo. That's like some people's deadlift and then running with it for like 10 meters or whatever. It's just mind-boggling.
It is.
And that's why we love the sport.
I think when you're heavily involved in the sport, and you know, I coach a lot of great athletes. I've been around some of the best athletes. I'm obviously very strong myself, and even like the promoters and things, they're all guys that train and they're fairly strong and stuff like that. But when you kind of look or you talk to just the average person that just likes watching as a fan, you know, 140 kilos to them is huge. Like you say, even on just a deadlift, 140 kilos for some people is a big weight. So
it's a big Triumph motorcycle.
Yeah.
To put it in people's perspective, it's that small Mini Cooper or a Fiat Cinquecento, whatever. Imagine carrying that and walking to the store. I mean, like, it's just, it's ridiculous.
It is. I think that's one of the appeals with the sport anyway, because, you know, but we do get kind of sidelined by looking on Instagram, seeing these, you know, ridiculous numbers that we lift. The Feats of Strength series, you know, we start thinking 400 kilos is a bad deadlift, which
I know, right?
is ridiculous.
And you brought it up on the commentary a bunch of times. They're like, oh, and then the comments saying, oh, it was shit. He only did 400 for 3 reps. I'm like, guys, 400 was the record not too long ago.
It's truly amazing how far the standard's coming. But I think it's also nice to have, you know, rather than focusing on the world records, which are great. I think the fact that we've got live contests coming back is going to get people excited.
And if look, there's some records that are specific to a certain promotion, right? So, for example, the car walk will always be a Giants Live record. Yeah. And may I say, I think you still hold that, don't you?
No. Mr. Kielishkovsky took it off me. Oh. He did. So, yeah, he if I was going to lose it to anyone, though, he's not a bad person to lose it to be fair.
He's ridiculous with like these moving. He's just.
Have you spoken to him just out of interest then? Because we spoke about the athletes.
I have.
It's going to be a bit too soon for.
Yeah, it's too soon. It's too soon. He just kept messaging. He's like, I really hope it doesn't happen. I'm like, what are you saying? He's like, I hope it gets delayed till June at least. I'm like, Mateus, June in the Middle East? Are you insane? He's like, yeah, but I really want to win. I'm like, well, okay, we've got more shows at the end of the year. Like, I just hope it gets delayed. I'm like, dude, I need to eat, man. We need to eat. He was funny. He was like, I'll split the prize money with you. I just love him. Bless his soul.
He's a great guy.
So if a world record happens at a show, that's great. Like, for example, if you do a WUS shield record, that can only be hours. Brilliant. If somebody does something ridiculous with this axle deathlift, it'll go down in the books. And if we ever do it again, it can be played with. Yeah. And then the last event, which is our flagship, horrendous 10 Atlas Stone run, Tommy Stoltman holds the record for that. So that's going to be the finale. So let's see what he can do. I mean, he did it in what did he do? 14.7 seconds.
I think he was so far ahead of anyone else. And if I'm honest, I think he can go a lot quicker.
Probably. It was the first time he was doing it. And the announcer, I think it was because of his accent or something, to everybody it sounded like 47 seconds, which was already ridiculous. But no, it was 40.7 seconds, 100 to 220.
I think was
10 stones.
Was there 3 or 4 guys that managed to finish? Because it was quite impressive.
There was only 4. So Brian finished it. He was the first one to finish it, and he was pretty fast. He was in a minute. Ron finished it.
Did Luke finish it as well?
I think Luke also finished it. Yes, Luke also finished it. That's what got him into the. Yeah. I think that was the. Tommy finished it. I think one more person finished it, and Mateusz, with one arm, managed to get to 7. It was just such an impressive little thing. So yeah, 5 events, all 5 events head to head, quick, compact, nice and tight.
What's your kind of time frame to get the show done then? If we're doing it live, have you
3
got
hours?
Like 3 hours.
3 hours. 3 hours. It shouldn't be that. I mean, because it's consistently 7 head to heads plus 1 single guy, assuming everybody finishes all the events. Yeah, so, because airtime on ESPN, that was a tricky part, because Strongman, I understand why some TV broadcasters don't broadcast Strongman live, because it can be quite tedious. It can be quite long.
Yeah.
Digital platforms is great because you can pause, rewind, watch it the next day because it's there. It's on YouTube or whatever. You can watch it anytime. But TV, the live element is gone. You've missed it. Yeah. So we're working with the ESPN people to make it as compact and as interesting as possible, but it's also available on digital. There's going to be many options for the fans to see it live, because whether it's on our OTT channel, we're revamping. We actually have revamped the Core Sports website. So we're not going to have any of the glitches that we had last year. So it's going to be basically the same engine as UFC Fight Pass, which was a very, very hefty investment on our part, but it's going to be good. It's going to be on Rogue's YouTube channel, because, I mean, bless them, they're always jumping in to support and sponsor.
Rogue have been brilliant for Strongman, haven't they? They're just such a...
Rogue and Rain and SBD. Without these 3, I don't know what would happen to the sport. I mean, Rain more so in the last 2 years, because they just came out of nowhere and just blasted everything. And Rogue for CrossFit and for Strongman are kind of like, I would go even as far as to say they're pillars, really.
Oh, they
are. And SBD, there's no doubt. I mean, they're just, and they've been just, it's been such a pleasure working with all 3 of them. Because last year was the first time we ever worked with any of them.
Yeah.
Because we were still the new guys, and they were kind of watching and waiting to see if we're worth the time, we're worth the money, we're not a bunch of jokers, or as online people said, World's Ultimate Strongman is probably owned by a couple of rich Arabs who are going to get bored of Strongman, and it's going to have the same fate as IFSA. I'm like, really? My partner is the whitest guy on the planet from Scotland, turns into a lobster in the heat. He's not a rich Arab, trust me. So few Mythbusters needed to be put out at some point. Yeah. So that's our show number 1, Laws.
Exciting.
We're really excited about it. So it's a sporty festival type thing the whole weekend. GCC Strongest Man, Gulf Strongest Man, is the day before. Okay. So it's a big show in an effort to bring out athletes from the region. So to qualify, you have to do a regional qualifier, but you have to be a GCC national. So Saudi Arabia, Oman, Kuwait, the UAE, and Bahrain. So that's the day before. Okay. So the boys will get to watch that as well. And it also happens to be one of our official qualifiers for the year after. So there's going to be a powerlifting meet there somewhere. There's a bunch of stuff going on, very, very strength related. And Bahrain is an island. Hence, we thought we'll just play around with the term Strength Island.
That's cool. I was right now, Which athletes have confirmed that they're competing? I know you probably can't remember all of them off the top of your head.
No, I probably can. So Janashia is...
so Janashia's coming back now. We haven't seen him for a while.
100%. And I'm really excited. The reason why I said his name first is because he hasn't competed since... Well, he did Georgia's Strongest Man, but that's like a walk in the park for him.
Yeah, and he did the Feats of Strength, didn't he? But he just wasn't...
Yeah, he wasn't ready enough. But yeah, he's ready. He's confirmed. He's in.
Awesome.
The Stoltman brothers, Adam Bishop, Terry Hollins.
Adam's coming into one of the live comps this time. That's brilliant. That's
absolutely, and we're really excited to see him. We've got Ivars, we've got Irvin Toots and Rauno both. Did I mention the Stoltmans? I did.
You did mention the Stoltmans, yes. You can't leave those boys out.
Exactly. Novikov.
You got the current world's strongest man coming. Excellent.
Absolutely. The current, in his words, Masters deadlift and Russian twerk champion, Mikhail Shivlikov.
Oh, brilliant.
I have a message from that man, and I had to send it to everybody. He's like, I am deadlift twerk champion. Is that the most entertaining deadlift of all time, maybe?
Yeah, that was
exactly. So he's coming. Then we've got the new guys. Well, Irvin is new on the circuit. Athor Malstead from Iceland. Yeah, he's coming. Bobby Thompson from the US. He's also in. I'm trying to see if I've missed anybody. Bibby won't be coming. I think he's still not ready to compete yet.
Have you spoken to Bibby?
I have just back and forth. Mateusz injured. Shaq is qualified, but he really needs to recover, and he's his surgery, so he won't be able to do it. Ernie was quite irritated that he wasn't going to recover on time, and it was going to be like his first day out in the Middle East. It was just going to be great, but he might recover in time for our planned show in end of March, beginning of April, which is the second World Ultimate Strongman in Abu Dhabi. We're not sure if it's going to go ahead yet. We'll know in the next few weeks. But either way, Mateusz and all of them will be recovered in time for, and here's a soft announcement, World's Ultimate Strongman, Las Vegas, 2021, September 17th, the night before Eddie versus Thor in the ring.
So we're taking it out of the Middle East, and you're going to Vegas, baby.
Hey, look, it makes sense. Strength fans travel. Fight fans travel. If we're getting the two world's strongest men in a ring, and it's probably going to be the first real outing / holiday that fans can go to after all the shit is calmed down or over or whatever. Like, well, half the fans of Strongman, why not make a whole weekend that is worth their while? Who doesn't want a weekend in Vegas?
I think this will be a lot more exciting to the Strongman fans as well. I know people are sort of, mixed feelings about the fight with Eddie and Thor, but to hear that there's going to be a huge Strongman event taking place as well from the hardcore Strongman side of things, I think that's brilliant. We want to see big weights lifted. We want to see Strongman in Vegas.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be great.
For those of us that enjoy the fight as well, it just makes it a brilliant weekend.
It's going to be a great, who after 18 months of lockdowns and I don't know what, I'm hoping that it doesn't matter, because even if we're allowed half capacity spectators in Vegas, there's a couple of thousand people from the UK and Iceland who are willing to fly over. Yeah. Because that demographic that demographic will do it no matter what. Right. And who doesn't want a week in Vegas after to watch your favorite sport and the two of the top guys in that sport who have changed careers in the last year try to knock each other out? The only people who wouldn't approve of a week in Vegas is your wives, maybe.
My wife will be coming, so she'll be okay with it. If she doesn't
you'll have a hard time
there's going to be trouble.
No, definitely no.
I've been to Vegas without the wife before. I think if I went again, I'd get in trouble.
I've never been to Vegas. I've honestly never been to Vegas.
Have you not?
I've managed to stay away from it thus far. because I don't do well where things are available in excess. I tend to.
Well, for those that haven't seen the first interview with Don, go and look at some of the stories on there of how he lost his eye. It's why you sit sideways for it, isn't it?
It is what's sideways, because this just freaks people out. They're like, what is going on? I know something's not right. Where is he looking?
On that swivel chair, you just need a cat, and just like stroking a cat, just be like an evil genius.
Do you know, Ozzy locked the door because there's a cat in this that looks like a little lion, and it tends to just come sit here, and we can, if you want to do a Dr. Evil special, we can do that sometime later. So that's what we have lined up for World's Ultimate Strongman. 3 shows planned, but I think all 3 will go ahead. Honestly, all 3 will go ahead. Our sponsors are happy, locked in. Everybody's wanting to do it. Local sponsors are starting to pick up. Broadcasters are happy with us. So no one can deny, and I hate to say this, but 2020 was kind of great for us, the way we handled it. It kind of showed the fans and the sponsors and the athletes that we're able to quickly adapt and think on our feet and create something out of nothing just to keep the ball rolling. So
one thing I'm going to ask then, obviously we've got Bahrain is confirmed with the potential of Abu Dhabi and hopefully Vegas as well later in the year.
Yeah.
Obviously the first few contests you guys have done have been renowned as being big prize money days for the athletes. So can you tell us what the prize money is going to be for this event?
Same. The biggest in the business, $150,000.
$150,000 split between athletes with so the top prize would be?
Top prize is 75.
Wow, okay.
Top prize is 75,000.
So the athletes are, this is a real opportunity for them to be battling and make, and just to point out, for those that don't know, the winner of World's Strongest Man gets $45,000. So this prize money is bigger than I believe the Arnold is about 70,000.
Yeah,
so
we went higher than the Arnolds a little bit. By the way, that's $150,000 per show.
Yeah.
So that's about $500,000.
$450,000 for the year. Then, if all 3 shows go ahead.
Can you see me bead sweating already? No.
I might go and just start training harder and get back into it.
I'm just saying, Laws. I heard you're making a comeback.
My comeback is just for fun. I do want to do a big show again, but with you guys, I'm more than happy. Sat down, watching the action, and being part of the show in a different aspect.
I mean, you never know. Something might go viral. Commentator outlifts. I totally forgot. The 2 Iranian boys who qualified, they've confirmed as well. So you remember Ramin from last year?
Yeah.
He came 9th, I think, last year, and then he was shot shortly thereafter.
Yeah, it's a terrible.
Somebody. Burglary in his house or something. So he got shot in the stomach. So it took him a while to recover from that. He's ready. And then Mohammed Azakpour, who qualified via the 2019 Emirates Strength Middle East Strongest Man that we do. That was one of our little qualifiers. So these 2 Iranian boys are coming. So the total is 15. I'm so sorry, guys, if I've missed anybody. But I mentioned Ivars. Zydrunas is coming to referee.
Is there any big names that you've asked that have said no?
What are the big names left? It's a new world. Martins is like, I'm in for Vegas, but he's just not ready.
Okay.
Kilishkovsky, again, ready for Vegas, but he's not ready. Brian Shaw, I don't even know if he wants to compete. I don't know. I haven't heard from him. He was sent.
I'm just presuming you would have given an invite.
Oh, absolutely, because he's obviously qualified, so we have to send out the official invitations of the contracts, and we never heard back from him. So I don't know.
I just want to be clear that like all the top guys get invites. That's because I know people are going to ask. People are going to say, "Why is this guy not coming? Why is Just want to make sure."
I just remembered, and I'm a horrible person. Jean-François Caron, JF Caron, was literally one of the first people to jump on board. And I don't know why. In my head, I'm working geographically and I hadn't reached as far as Canada yet. So there you go.
He's doing amazing.
From across the Atlantic, we're only getting Bobby Thompson from the US and JF Caron.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody else is from the UK, Europe, whatever, and then the Middle East.
Okay.
That was I did a really piss poor job of doing the athlete lineup, didn't I?
I know it's unless you have it in front of you, it's hard. I'm just trying to sort of rattle off some names that I know people are going to ask, because obviously, you know, people love to know what's going on. But
sorry, fans. I usually just
I need to talk. When it comes to athletes and events, I need to talk to Mark, don't I? But no, it sounds like it's going to be a really exciting year with all the, you know, the crap that is going on. To hear that we've got at least one huge event coming up very soon, and the potential of 3 big ones as part of the World Ultimate Strongman this year, I know people are going to be excited about. Quickly then, before we go, are people allowed to come and watch any of these? Is there spectators? I mean, I know you mentioned in Vegas that hopefully there will be. How about Bahrain?
Well, Bahrain, the only reason His Highness Sheikh Khalid was actually supporting this is it's a free event. It's for the people. And that we could have done this sometime last year, like September, October, but made for TV. And he didn't want to do that. He's like, well, I'm doing it for the people. I'm doing it for the public. So let's just give it another couple of months until we can have some spectators. It's just, as long as you stick to the distancing rules or whatever. And it's a free event in Bahrain, and people are happy to come. Welcome to come. What we are going to do is we're working with the hotel that the athletes are staying at. We're working with them on creating kind of like what we did last year, like fan packages. I'm sure there's a lot of people who'd love to get away from the UK for a week, right? Or Europe in general.
It's funny, just this week with us going into lockdown, the amount of people I've seen traveling to Dubai it's been shocking. I've been well jealous. I'm like, no, I'm stuck here and you guys are out there. But,
absolutely. So we're going to create some kind of an affordable thing for if fans want to fly out.
I'm presuming there will be measures in place, tests that need to be done, etc., etc.
Yeah. So the UAE, the way it is, the thing is the list keeps changing all the time. Yes. But that whole scare that happened, and suddenly the UK was the pariah of the world, and everybody, nobody from the UK is coming. We didn't do that. What we did was initially in November, there was a straight open corridor between the UK and the UAE. So coming to the UAE was considered a safe zone. And when you go back to the UK, you didn't have to quarantine. So now with this new scare and new strain and I don't know what, you just have to come with a test. But I think from certain countries in Dubai, if you land, you're asked, do you have a test or not? If you have a PCR certificate, whatever, you take this side. Otherwise, you get tested at the airport and you stick to where you're staying for 24 hours, and then you get the results the next day. Then you're free to go if you're negative. So it's pretty, because it depends on tourism. They can't.
Yeah.
They can't. They took all the measures possible to make sure tourism keeps churning, and they did well. So we will assess. Obviously, the flights and everything are going to be booked, I think maybe next week or the week after, but maybe a week to 10 days before the athletes and the crew fly out, we'll just say, all right, here are the new rules, if any.
Yeah.
Please get a PCR test, or it can be done at the airport. We'll inform everybody of...
like you say, the rules keep changing, weekly. So I guess it's impossible to say exactly right now. But I just wanted to be open-minded, clear on what needs to be done, and just understanding how strict it is out there, how strict it's going to be for people if they come over from the UK. Obviously, I know every country right now has different rules set out, so it all gets very, very complicated.
And it makes no sense. I mean,
it must be very challenging for you guys as promoters.
Yes, it is, because, but you see, 2020 has taught us a lot. I mean, it's just one simple rule. If we follow, plan as if the world is going to shit, figure something out that can work in the worst possible circumstances, and then take it from there. If something comes up that is like, oh, right, well, this is something new we have to deal with, we'll just deal with it. But what we won't do is sit on our asses and do nothing.
Sure.
I mean, I don't think that there should be any reason to ever do that. There's always something new and creative, and we do not mind getting punched in the face, lambasted with negative comments. Oh, this is shit. You're ruining the sport. But really, guys, 1.7 billion PR hits. That's what Feats of Strength did, Laws. Mainstream.
Yeah.
So it's horrible for the sport. So, but we could take it. We don't take anything personally. We just keep doing our job. We just keep putting it out there for the fans.
It's just that mentality, isn't it? I mean, you guys are really good at being positive and trying to. You do as if you like. You know. Thank you. You try and make things happen, and I think whenever you're that kind of personality, you're always going to be hit with. The opposite, the negative comments and the people that think we should just give up on.
Look, Mark and I have always had this thing. You know what? Bring it on. We'll deal with it. We're just going to keep doing exactly what we're doing, if not better. And there is no way. The law of mathematics does not allow everybody to like you. There will always be a certain percentage of people who don't like the way you do things or have something negative to say. But I mean, you can't please everybody, you know?
No, you can't. But I'm sure with this news, you're going to please an awful lot of Strongman fans. So thank you for coming on and talking to us, Don.
Absolutely, Laws. Anytime. There's a few more little surprises here and there that I'm not allowed to talk about today, but we'll discuss that on another call maybe. Yes. But for now, Strongman fans, rest assured, we've got live shows coming up as early as February 27th. Probably 2 in the first quarter of the year, and look out for what's hopefully going to be a very visually ridiculous show in Las Vegas in September.
Well, I cannot wait for that. I'm looking forward to seeing you in Bahrain in February.
Definitely.
And we'll talk soon. Guys,
all right. Thank you, Laz.
It's exciting to hear the news that's coming from the World Ultimate Strongman. Make sure you guys comment below and let me know who you're looking forward to seeing. If any of those events that Don was going to, what was it, the axle death lift?
the almost 2-ton axle deathlift. Yeah.
And then you've got the mystery event in there as well. It's going to be fantastic, exciting year ahead for Strongman. I'm hoping by the second half of the year, we're all back to almost, normal anyway, but it's good to know that we've got events to look forward to. Don, take care. We will catch you soon.
Thank you, Lars. Thank you. Have a good one.
While you're here, guys, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my awesome strength content.